Hey there, folks. Welcome to another edition of Stranger in a Southern Land. I, of course, am your host, Jake Manning. Today in the program, we have my buddy Larry, who runs the food truck Wingzza. Why is he my buddy? Well, let me explain to you. He took my two favorite foods, wings and pizza, and put it all in a truck, and he's mobile. He's serving everywhere here in Charlotte. And another reason why he's a good buddy of mine is he gave me a free bottle of Mambo Sauce, which I've been using kind of as a ketchup substitute, but also as a marinade. It's fantastic, especially all the grilling I've been doing this summer. So thank you, Larry, my good buddy Larry. He's been taking care of me, that's for sure. And you should be taking care of him. Anytime you see Wingzza out here in Charlotte, make sure you stop by and say hey and tell him that Jake Manning sent you there. And also, too, Larry's just a great guy. He's got a great story, and we sit down and we tell that story here on the podcast today. So I'm very excited for you guys to listen to this podcast today because of that reason, because Larry's my buddy. But anyways, if you want to be my buddy and you want to come see me do some comedy, I've got some dates for you I want to spout out for you right now. August 11th, I will be performing at the Charlotte Comedy Zone. I'll be doing the 180 Seconds open mic. Maybe I'll have more than 180 seconds, or maybe I'll have exactly 180 seconds. But make sure you show up. That is Tuesday, August 11th. And then Tuesday, August 18th, I'm back at the Charlotte Comedy Zone doing the Fight Night competition. Please come out for that. I need all the support I can get to move on to the next round. I didn't make it in the last round, so please help me out in this round so I can move on in the big Fight Night competition that they always have at the Comedy Zone here in Charlotte. Also, another Comedy Zone date to give to you is Funny on the Fly season finale Sunday, August 23rd. Make sure you come out for that. Funny on the Fly is one of my favorite things to do comedy-wise. They give me my material half an hour before I go on stage, which is great. I don't have to sit around and worry about memorizing my material. I got to come up with it and write it on the fly, or come up with it on the spot. So it's quite a very unique show, and I'm very happy to be doing this show. And this is kind of the season finale before they close up shop, just before football season. So make sure you come out for Funny on the Fly, Sunday, August 23rd, Charlotte Comedy Zone. And for all those dates, make sure you log on to the Comedy Zone website, which I believe is cltcomedyzone.com. So anyways, if you want to follow me on social media and the interwebs, make sure you follow me on Twitter at ManScoutManning or on Instagram at ManScoutManning. If you have a question about the podcast, make sure you email me at jake@sslshow.com. Or if you want to book me for an upcoming wrestling event, make sure you email me at manscoutmanning@yahoo.com. Anyways, without further ado, let's jump head first into this wonderful podcast with Larry, my new buddy Larry, from the food truck Wingzza, here on Stranger in a Southern Land. Larry, thank you so much for being on the podcast today. I appreciate giving me this location outside. Normally I do these things indoors, so I appreciate the change of scenery. So
well, this is fun.
Yeah,
food trucks on the go.
It's different. It was a different idea when you said, hey, we should do it next to the food truck, and if weather permitting, and it has.
Right.
So thank you for that.
Just barely.
Yeah, just barely. It's 30% chance. So I think we're doing okay. We got
our odds at 70.
I like our odds as well. That's for sure. But anyways, Larry, owner and operator of Wingzza. Did I pronounce it properly?
Yep, Wingzza.
Wingzza, food truck, which you've taken my favorite foods, pizza and wings, and just jammed them together. So I got to thank you for that. That's always wonderful. But let's start at the beginning. How did you become interested in working in the food industry in general? What was your interest in food?
Well, just like you said, pizza and wings were actually my favorite two foods out there that I like to go around and shop for. So it was one of those things where I got tired of going to, I love pizza and wings, and I love them together. So I got tired of going to two separate places to get the best pizza and the best wings. So I started out on a mission to make them at home. So I bought a couple books, learned how to make pizza dough, pizza sauce. I was always working on my wings, trying to perfect them, and got to test a lot of good stuff out on my friends. And didn't start out so great, but I worked at it, and that was like my weekend hobby. I originally have a degree in marketing. Okay. So I worked for a marketing consulting firm out of college for about 7 years, actually, and this was my hobby, and I got to the point where we were actually specializing in marketing to 18 to 30-year-olds, so Generation Y. I guess now they're called millennials.
Yeah.
We were marketing to them, and it was all sorts of big brands, national brands, Fortune 500 companies that I was managing accounts, and they were coming to me trying to figure out how to, communicate with millennials. And, it kind of hit me that, I can create my own brand that would be cool. And, food truck thing really hadn't taken off like that. I didn't have the money to open a restaurant, but I knew that I loved making pizza and wings, and my stuff had gotten pretty good.
Just kind of in the spare time.
Yeah, spare time.
With friends.
First testing it out with friends, and then it turned into, hey, I'm having something at my house. I'd rather buy the pizza from you than to order it. So that kind of happened, and then you do the event at your friend's house, and it's like, well, hey, my church does something, and it kind of started snowballing into the space where I felt like I had something.
Okay. It almost sounds like sort of like it began kind of the way my obsession with grilling has started over this summer. Is that I've gotten very I want to start with the marinades. I want to try different things, and okay, now I've got a way and a structure how I'm gonna cook it, and and it's like a whole day process.
You become a big time pro after a while. You
exactly.
add one little thing at a time, and before you know, you have something good.
Yeah, so it was kind of like that for you in the very early beginning, just something you were messing around with, almost like a hobby in a sense.
Absolutely. I bought a book or two, and it started with trying to figure out how to make my pizza dough taste like, pizza that you can get out.
Yeah.
And talk about heavy. It was like the weight of a 20-pound dumbbell. My first pizza that I made, it was super heavy. Just learning to work with the yeast and the type of flour that you need, and it just became a challenge.
Yeah.
It turned into a challenge. So once you get that itch, like you mentioned with your grilling and stuff like that, and you want to have the best stuff, then you just keep working at it.
Yeah, and then the thing is, there's types of varieties. You can start messing around with what you put on the pizza and start experimenting, and that's where the fun part is. The same with the wings, with the sauces and stuff like that, which I'm going through a situation where I'm trying 5 different marinades at a time in a grilling session. So
well, I have something for you.
Okay.
Yes, I do have a gift for you. We'll have to get it so we can put it on camera with us here.
Okay.
But our Mambo Sauce, which is our most popular flavor here on the truck, and we actually bottled that sauce. I was voted best wing in Charlotte. We've had a number of different national recognitions for that sauce. It's a sweet, sticky red sauce. It's a little tangy, not spicy at all, but it's perfect for marinades, fried foods. Some folks use it as salad dressings. We have if you go on Instagram, we have a hashtag #HowDoYouMambo, and folks that use our sauce show all kind of cool things that they use it on. Sort of like anything you could put hot sauce or ketchup on, plus a couple extra items.
See, you've already got and that's what's dangerous about you, is that you've got this marketing experience that you could now apply to this business.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And you had this idea of I want to start a food truck, I have this marketing degree, and then I have this hobby, and then you mesh that all together.
All together, just all together. And I'm just like everybody else, trying to figure out what works, trying to find your niche just in life, and, what you enjoy and what you can also pay the bills with. And that's what I came up with.
Well, but also, too, you had to dive head first into this project, I imagine.
Absolutely. You can't be a part-time food truck owner.
Yeah.
It's one of those things, coming from the corporate world, you work 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. With a food truck, the coolest stuff isn't even going on between 8 and 5. The coolest stuff is happening at happy hour or at night or on the weekends, and it's definitely a change of pace.
Okay, well, how did you jump head first in this? Obviously, I'm guessing that maybe the first thing to do is buy a truck.
Yes.
That's step one of a food truck.
Yeah, step one was deciding that I was going to start a food truck, and then I went out and bought a truck. It started as just a shell. We started in 2010, so the food truck scene here in Charlotte was very, very sparse. There wasn't a lot of resources out there.
Yeah, and then of course I know there was some regulation at the time of where you could set up and do it. So
yeah, there was a lot of regulation, and I kind of took the approach that I'd rather ask for forgiveness than permission. And if I looked like I belonged, then they wouldn't bother me. If my truck looked professional and the food was good and people were there, the parking enforcement or police or whoever, may just say, oh, okay.
Okay,
And keep on moving. Yeah,
he's definitely probably.
Yeah.
He's acting like he's
seems
supposed to be.
legit.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. So it was one of those sorts of things. But started by buying a truck. Just found the shape that I was looking for. Just the shell. Had to build it out to be able to handle electricity, propane. Will I be able to fit the equipment into it for what I want to cook, and how does that ecosystem all work together?
Is this the original truck right here?
No, this is not the original truck.
Okay.
The original truck was a little bit smaller than this. It was a white truck, same branding and all, but I started, and it was a 1987. So I spent $3,500 on the truck itself.
Okay.
Went up to Lynchburg, Virginia, and there was a gentleman that actually had a pizza truck business in Lynchburg, and it was, he had 3 or 4 trucks, and my brother lives in Roanoke, Virginia, which is just a few minutes from there. And he said that, I was telling him, man, I think I want to start a truck that sells pizza and wings. He's like, oh, there's a guy, that has one that comes over to the high school, and I see it from time to time. Maybe I'll ask him, tell him my brother wants to start a truck if he's looking to sell a truck. Just so happens he's like, oh yeah, I got an extra truck. And I went up to see it, and it fit the criteria for what I was looking for at the time. Just a bread truck, a square truck, and it was $3,500. So I felt like, this could be a good start. I could spruce it up a bit, and it was a 1987. Barely made it back to Charlotte from Lynchburg, but I got here and I got to work on it, and we launched, and things were going well for a little bit there, and one day coming back from lunch, the truck caught on fire. And so it was, like I said, it was a 1987. This was 2010.
Yeah, see, that's a scary thing. It's like when you say, yeah, the truck blew up or whatever and it's caught on fire. That's like saying your restaurant is on fire.
Absolutely. But at the time, I was just driving back from lunch. It was a hot day. It was actually one of the busiest days that we had. Now, we're about 6 or 7 months into the service at this point. It was one of the busier days that we had to date. And I'm driving back feeling good, and I smelled something funny. And I thought, we were kind of in an industrial area. Maybe there's some work going on, something going on, Next thing you know, there's thick white smoke coming out of the vents. And I said, okay, well, this is me. Let me pull over and see what's going on. And I pulled over and lost a little bit of control of the steering pulling over, I guess, because of whatever was on fire. And I got out, and I heard crackling, and I kind of looked under the truck from the front, and I saw some embers falling. Oh. And I said, okay, this is on fire. Let me back away and call 911 and get the fire department here, because I knew I had propane.
Yeah, you've got propane tanks and
stuff
everything
going on. So I was afraid something big was going to happen. And the fire department got there pretty quickly, in about 10 minutes. But at that point, it was fully engulfed in flames, and it was gone just like that. So I left my job, stepped out, put a bunch of money into the truck trying to fix it up. It was a really fulfilling project, even to get to the street. And to have it go away like that, it was pretty disappointing. But what we had done in that small amount of time, we had got a decent following in Charlotte, and social media was kind of on our side, so I was able to tweet about what was happening as it was happening, like, oh gosh, our food truck's on fire. And you never realize how many people are paying attention to what you're doing until something like that happens. And then we had customers that were, volunteering to fundraise for us. I had one gentleman, actually our first customer, volunteered for our comeback to build us a website free of charge. Wow. He was our first customer and just happened to follow us on Twitter as well and saw it. And the support is actually what got me back onto the road, because I had insurance, and I had left the corporate world to start this food truck, and I originally was taking that as a sign, like, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. Maybe I should just take my insurance money and just go back to work, and just I did it.
You did it. You could say you did
I could say I did it.
And got out relatively okay.
Absolutely. So it was kind of like one of those things where I felt like I'd stepped out on faith originally. I'm a believer in God, absolutely. And I felt like, at that point, God was telling me that I wasn't done yet. So I, kind of pulled myself up. One thing that I didn't mention was a week before that happened, the Cooking Channel had actually come out and filmed a segment at our truck.
Okay, I think I remember that one.
Yes, it was called Pizza Outside the Box.
Yes, I definitely saw that.
And they, featured 10 folks that were doing pizza in creative ways around the country. And we were one of them. We were the only food truck. And the fire happened in June, and that didn't air until September. And when that happened, the response from my friends, my family, everyone that follows us on social media was so positive that I was like, how can you make the decision not to continue on after, that happened? And, I just decided to start over again from scratch. Got a bigger truck, a newer truck. So I wouldn't have to deal with, I didn't mention, but the 87, it had an electrical issue under the hood. That's what they determined when they we're checking it out for our insurance and stuff, and faulty wiring on an old truck. So I got a newer truck. I changed it. It was a white truck. I tried to do everything a little bit opposite or better than what I had done before from a preparation standpoint. So originally I didn't have any employees. It was just myself and a food truck. And I was going out. That's how few folks I was serving, but, it was fun.
Yeah.
When I came back, I had employees, a little more help, a little sleeker marketing message. So I felt like I got a chance to press reset and do things better than what I had done before.
Yeah, you get a chance to rebrand. You got a reason to kind of turn a corner, and because you probably could have just stayed in that truck and kept going the way you did, where that kind of freshened things up.
And it wasn't really, it gave us, something to talk about a little bit differently. And I would say that was sort of like the training wheels truck. So that when I came back, I was absent for about 6 months. When I came back, I felt like I knew what to expect, because sometimes you dive in head first and you don't know what it's going to be like until you get into it.
You're just trying to learn how to swim.
Yeah, so you're just staying afloat, at that point. And that's where I was. Before I started Wingzza, and this is no joke, I had 3 months of food service experience. So I had worked for McDonald's for 3 months when I was 16.
Wow.
And I started Wingzza like, I can figure it out. The food is good, and, I'll have a chance I can figure it out.
Yeah.
And,
which is kind of a ballsy assessment.
Was very ballsy and very stupid when I look back on it. It wasn't the smartest thing to do because, I did take a lot of bumps, but I was able to work my way through. And, it's just a part of the journey.
Yeah.
But I had many scraped up knees and and bumps on my head trying to feel my way into a food service business, for sure.
But yeah, it's just funny when those situations of, like your truck catching on fire, those things happening. You said you're coming back from a very good day for you. I mean, it could have been, you didn't have that Cooking Channel piece coming out, and you could have been coming back from the worst day ever. Right. Just those two things right there, I'm like, well, this is definitely a sign that I shouldn't be doing this.
Need to be done,
like just changing those two things, but the fact of that and the fan support, everything like that was a turning corner that was probably a positive in the end.
Absolutely. It absolutely was, because when we came back, we were able to do it better. We had a story to tell, and we executed a lot better. We were able to plan the setup, and then once we came back, more things than we could ever imagine started happening for us. So it's just been a blessing, and I truly do believe that, that was God's way of keeping me there. I try to pray before any step that I take in life, and I had prayed about opening a food truck, and I felt like that was what God led me to do. So when I did it and things didn't go right, I prayed again, and I felt like he was telling me I wasn't done yet. So here I am, talking to you.
Yeah, exactly. For this nice truck.
Yeah,
now, my question is, because of pizza,
Yeah.
And the preparation of that. Obviously, it takes some time to put that all together.
Sure.
Now, are you baking on the truck, or how is that all set up?
Absolutely. We cook everything fresh on the truck.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, our kitchen pretty much just stores our fresh dough, our toppings, our fresh chicken wings, our sauces. We make sauces back at the kitchen, but when we come out on the road, we're pressing out our dough fresh, topping the pizza, baking it right in there. So we have a pizza oven. Then we have a couple of fryers, so we're frying the wings
So nothing
fresh.
just sitting there under a heat lamp.
No, absolutely not. You come to Wingzza, you're always going to get something fresh and something hot.
Yeah, was that something you decided you wanted to do? Because you could have gone the easy route,
sure,
especially starting off. But
yeah.
What made you want to go that extra step and be like, this is the way I want to do it, and I got to make sure that I have everything in place to do so.
Well, you remember I said it was tough for me to find good pizza and good wings in the same place. And part of really good pizza, really good wings, is stuff that's fresh and made to order. Chicken wings have to be deep fried. A lot of pizza spots out there, run them through the same oven that the pizza goes through. We deep fry them, so what goes along with deep fried chicken wings, they got to be crispy, they got to be hot, and it adds to the overall effect. And the same with pizza. You know how it is when you get a pizza that's fresh out of the oven compared to the next day when you eat your leftovers. It just doesn't have the same thing, so just trying to offer the best product possible kind of led to that. And space restrictions. In a restaurant you have plenty of counter space for a pizza display, a warming lamp, and all that kind of stuff on the truck. You barely have enough space for your cooking equipment. So it's like, how can you master the art of cooking and getting it out of the window to match the demand on the outside? So
absolutely, fresh
is the way to go, really.
Okay. But and obviously you just mentioned like you won awards and stuff like that. And one thing I think it was the Food Network's listed you as having the best slice in North Carolina at one point in time.
Yes.
That's got to be pretty prestigious as well.
That was awesome. Yes, that was awesome.
Especially for a guy that's like, I just want to make good pizza that people like. It's something that I'm going to like. For you to be listed as one of the best in North Carolina has got to be...
that was very satisfying, because when I got that award, I thought back on the times that I was just trying to make a pizza good enough to compete with Domino's or Pizza Hut or Papa John's or something, just something that I could save a couple bucks and have a really good pizza. So to be named the best slice in North Carolina by Food Network magazine, that was awesome. That was really cool.
Not bad. And how did you originally come to Charlotte? Was it because of your original job, like the marketing job?
Yeah. Well, I'm originally from Maryland. So is my wife. And at the time, us trying to get started in life, the cost of living up in Maryland, just outside of D.C. was...
Well, DC traffic.
Right. Traffic,
why do you
cost of living, the
that?
whole 9 yards. It was like we want to do something a little different. And we had looked at a few southern cities, but Charlotte had that it factor. That made us, just step out and say, hey, let's give Charlotte a try. And that was in 2006, so we'll be here 10 years next year.
Yeah.
And, it was just one of those things that we were able to work out transfers from our jobs and all that kind of cool stuff, and it just worked out.
Okay, and then you ended up here, and then you got into the food truck about 2010, well before everybody. Seems like 2012 was probably when things started to...
When it kicked off.
Yeah.
So we started the food truck, and, at that point in Charlotte, getting fresh food made to order on the street wasn't something that was happening. A lot of folks expected us to maybe have a hot dog or a hamburger or something like that. And when we...
Yeah, because you see those trucks outside of Home Depot.
Yes, that kind of thing.
And broken down shopping malls.
Right,
They're
absolutely.
basically taco trucks.
Right,
basically.
And that was, what we were trying to change the perception of. Me being from just outside of D.C., and traveling a bit with my old job, I saw all kind of cool food trucks and street food, and I really wanted to bring that to Charlotte. So I said, well, if I can do my two favorite foods, pizza and wings, do something cool on the streets of Charlotte, maybe it'll kick off a food truck movement. And here we are 5 years later. Food trucks are alive and well here in Charlotte. There were a couple that came, within the year behind us. Urban Legend, Tin Kitchen, Roaming Fork. So those are some cool food trucks in Charlotte, and they came right behind us, and I think that we were, really vital in kind of figuring out the blueprint of how to operate a food truck in Charlotte. We're never in one spot more than 1 day per week. So that kind of helped us evade the laws that may not have been in our favor at that time, because if you're there 3 days in a row, someone may call and say, hey, there's a food truck.
Yeah, because there's a particular law that says you can't be there like more than 24 hours
Right,
in between.
right.
And
So
then
there's-
like close to restaurants too. I think
Can't
is
be
another-
close to restaurants. So what we focused on was like corporate dining. So we tried to get next to corporate parks and areas where there was a high corporate population. So you would know at your job, every Monday the Wingzza truck is out there, and we only come on Mondays, so that's sort of your treat to yourself. Another place we're only there on Wednesdays. So it kept us on the move and satisfying our crowd while not really stepping, because we never wanted to be disrespectful to the laws that were in place, but we felt like there was a need for some more vibrant street food in Charlotte, and we just sort of wanted to lead the charge there.
And sometimes those laws inhibit growth in the marketplace.
Absolutely.
That's something that a lot of brewers are facing, and distillers in the state are definitely facing.
Right.
They've had a lot of laws passed to help them further the growth in those businesses, but definitely the same thing with the food truck. There's been issues that way.
And that's cool because, the breweries and the food trucks work together a whole bunch because they don't offer food. But
And they don't want to
plenty-
deal with the hassle of having
Right,
a kitchen.
having-
You roll up with your kitchen,
Yeah,
just do it up.
Kill two birds with one stone. Have good beer, good wings, good slice of pizza or taco or whatever you might be getting out there that day. But we've had a good relationship with the breweries as well in Charlotte.
And it's a very good marriage because you guys spend a lot of time branding on social media.
Right.
So you can tag yourself together in social media.
Absolutely.
Get two people out there, be like, hey, we're going to be at, Noda
Brewing Company, yeah.
or wherever, and it goes through their Twitter account, your Twitter account,
Yep.
and then you get your social media followers.
Absolutely.
So how important is social media to what you do?
Well, without social media, the food truck business would be in bad shape because part of the appeal is being, needing to find the truck. Social media is the quickest way to touch base with your customer base and let them know exactly where you'll be, when you'll be there. Keeps the name fresh and there. Not necessarily like the restaurants of the past where you drive past it every day at home, heading home from work, or, every weekend when you take your kid to soccer practice, you drive past an ice cream shop. You become dependent on seeing those things, and that's who you patronize. And social media allows food trucks to keep the name out there as much as possible. So you can put out good pictures of your food, tell folks where you're going to be at the same time, and the person at home or on their smartphone wherever they are says, "Wow, that pizza looks good. Oh, look, they're just about 10 minutes away today. Maybe I'll run over there for lunch." And it keeps the food truck business alive. Absolutely.
Now, what are some places you like to go? Like breweries are obviously corporate places are good. What are some other places that maybe you like to park and kind of try out, like parks or other events or like, because you also, especially if there's like events going on like in the city, like I definitely know like 4th of July, you're trying to think to get downtown or someplace to get down there.
Sure. We do, one of the biggest events in Charlotte is Food Truck Friday, which happens on the south end of town every Friday night from 5 to 9 p.m. You can always expect to see between 10 and 15 food trucks down there serving. Thousands of folks come out for that every Friday night, especially in the spring and summer. We've also done Speed Street. So it's been sponsored by Coca-Cola and Food Line in association with the Coca-Cola 500 for a few years. We do that in Uptown. We've done events at Romare Bearden Park as well, which is, Symphony in the Park, South Park. In that area, there's a big thing where they do lots of concerts and stuff. So we just try to be where the happenings are, really. Food trucks are perfect for that because you always can allow yourself to be in that cool space. If it's a great concert happening, if there's a movie showing in the park or whatever it may be, we can pull up and give you a much better option.
Okay. Now, as far as like your future, like growth, like are you looking to grow any further? Are you looking to just keep the truck right now and manage what you got, or what are you looking to do right now?
What I'd really like to do is get into the sauce business.
Okay.
With our wings, folks love. Right now we have 11 different flavors that we offer on the truck. All of them are made from scratch, so we aren't, buying anything that you're going to taste anywhere else. They're all our own unique flavors, originating from my kitchen at home. But we've had a tremendous response to our sauces. So it started with the Mambo Sauce, which I mentioned for you earlier, and that's sort of our flagship product. But we also have Charlotte Hornet sauce, We have a sauce named after Cam Newton, the quarterback of the Carolina Panthers. Top to bottom, buffalo sauces, sweet sauces, a southwestern sauce. We have all kind of cool stuff that tastes really good on chicken wings and a bunch of other stuff. And I'd like to get into the sauce business.
Which, with your marketing degree,
yes,
you know, and obviously a sauce. I mean, you walk into a supermarket and you see all of these lines of sauces, and it's really the marketing that's going to stand out on a shelf like that. So you've kind of like, you're dangerous in that sense. You've got that marketing sensibility with the sense of making your own sauce.
And you know, we've gotten our feet wet with expanding in the food service business, and that kind of taught me that that's not where I want to be.
Yeah, you don't want to be in the catering end of it so much.
Well, we do some catering, but duplicate. It's a lot of work in the food business, and trying to duplicate it 10, 20, 30 times. You know, not everybody has the passion that you have, and it's tough, you know, to try to duplicate that. So, you know, restaurants out here like that are national brands, you have to take your hat off to them because they figured out how to go from one location to 1,000 and not really sacrifice too much of the product. And that's really tough to do. We actually had a store open for a year in the Valley Hills Mall in Hickory. And that was actually as a result of us winning the show Food Court Wars on the Food Network.
Okay.
So we did that with Tyler Florence. He's also the host of the Great Food Truck Race. We went on and we competed and we won. So we got rent-free for a year in the mall at the Valley Hills Mall. And we went there and we did it. It's about an hour away from Charlotte. And it was a tremendous learning experience. You know, based on the distance away from where our home base was, it was a little tough to consider, you know, renewing and staying there. But the amount of experience I got in that rent-free year was priceless. You know, and it kind of brought me back into the space where I had to determine what it is that I'm best at and what I would really like to spend my time doing.
What did you learn there? Like, what was the learning experience, the overall takeaway from it?
The overall takeaway is that I love doing the food truck more than I would enjoy having a brick and mortar, first and foremost, because that, you know, you're talking about 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, it has to be open.
Yeah.
People anticipate it being open. A lot more staffing requirements. You can't necessarily go to your customer. Well, you can't go to your customer. Your customer has to come to you. And I realized all of the benefits that the food truck has. You know, you can pick your hours. You can make sure that you're in the right spots at the right time, as opposed to, you know, in a normal shopping center or a mall or a standalone. You know, you're banking on the busy days for that mall or shopping center or standalone.
Hoping somebody walks by.
Yeah, you're hoping that,
as opposed to going to where the people are.
Going to where the people are. Yeah. So I found out that, you know, the flexibility of the food truck definitely leads into a greater business opportunity from that standpoint, because you can have a busy day every day of the week if you know where to go. So I learned that, and then I also learned that, you know, it's a little bit tougher to execute your vision verbatim when you're dependent on other folks to execute it. You know, so it's like, if I had a store and I have 10 employees there, you know, not everybody's going to understand and have the same passion for it as I would. Whereas in the sauce business or the product business, you know, I can put my fingerprint on just about everything that goes out there and know that, you know, I just have a little more control over it. So that's where I hope to go.
Yeah.
You know, just expanding the Wingzza brand into things that I feel like our customer base would enjoy. So, you know, products that you can use at home, whether it be a seasoning for marinating, a sauce.
Which would be great to sell on the truck, because you could be selling them. They eat like, oh, well, try this sauce. They like the sauce. If you'd like to buy the bottle, it's right here.
Yeah,
so
we sell the Mambo Sauce from the truck daily. We also offer it on our website at wingzza.com. So you can order a bottle of our famous Mambo Sauce there. That's been featured on the Food Network and helped us win Food Court Wars and all sorts of different cool stuff from that standpoint. But, you know, I don't know, man. You know, I'm at that space again where I'm trying to figure out exactly what the niche is and what I want to be doing. Yeah, and in the meantime, we're offering awesome food on the food truck day in and day out. So that ain't going nowhere.
That's not going nowhere.
But I don't know if I want 3 or 4 trucks. I don't know if I want a restaurant.
Yeah, or if you want a whole product line in
Right.
a grocery store and distribution, which right now I'm sure you have to think about the logistics of that. Like,
Absolutely.
Where are you doing the bottling for that?
So we have a co-packer that does our bottling, that provides it for us and comes on down, and we just sell it from the truck from our website. We also do some B2B sales, so business to business with other restaurants.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a couple of places in Charlotte where you can have our Mambo Sauce on items at other restaurants.
So where are those places at?
The one that we started with was Uptown Bar and Lounge inside of Charlotte Douglas International Airport.
Okay.
So that's in Concourse A there. You can get our Mambo Sauce on their wings, on your fries, on your hamburger, on your onion rings. Just about everything that they have on the menu, you can add Mambo Sauce to it, and it tells a little bit about our story in the description of the sauce. And then Neighborhood Cafe is the second place, and that's near Johnson C. Smith University. That's a cafe that's just outside of campus there, but our Mambo Sauce is moving there as well. So, just trying to do everything well while we're doing it. So when the food truck is out, absolutely the best service, absolutely the best food. When we're pitching the sauce, whether it's to a customer or to another business, just trying to make sure it fits what they're trying to sell and it tastes well, and that we're putting our best foot forward.
Okay.
You can only take one step at a time. So as long as you're taking good steps in the right direction, I figure you'll get to where you're going.
Well, that's a great way to do it, and perfect way to kind of wrap things up. But before we wrap up, I just want to let you plug your social medias, websites,
Absolutely.
everywhere people can get in touch with you.
Okay. So the first place to check out is Wingzza.com. So that's WINGZZA.com. You can learn all about our menu, our story, see some of our press, as well as order a bottle of Mambo Sauce or a case straight to your house at Wingzza.com. On social media, we are on Instagram at Wingzza. Again, it's WINGZZA. On Twitter, we are Wingzza Truck. So just add truck onto the end of the Wingzza, and that's one word. So
somebody's sitting on that right now. The Wingzza.
No, they weren't actually. When we started as a truck, we just said Wingzza Truck.
Wingzza Truck.
Yeah,
okay.
And then when we expanded a bit into a brand that we were looking to do more things, like if you can see my sweatshirt, we sell shirts and the sauce and stuff like that. We just wanted to be known as Wingzza.
That's that marketing
because it's
degree
not limited.
coming in,
It's not limited to just the truck, the Wingzza experience. So Wingzza Truck on Twitter and Facebook.
Okay.
Just Wingzza on Instagram and our website.
All right. Well, Larry, I can't thank you enough for getting me outdoors today, for one,
man.
but also, most importantly, thank you for this wonderful conversation. Like I said, I saw you on the Food Network and everything else like that, so it was just a pleasure to sit down and talk with you today. And,
cool.
And I appreciate you taking my two favorite foods and cramming together in one truck. One kitchen, one kitchen on wheels. So
Absolutely.
I thank you for that, sir.
No problem, and thank you for having me, Jake.
All right.
Had a lot of fun.
Me too.
All right.